Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 539, Why Erasing Things from Canon is Stupid. Now, I put in the description, yes, good night, we're done, we're good. I think that's a general response from any fan of any canon, of anything from Sherlock Holmes to Star Trek. You want your canon to mean something because you spent all that time reading it. It's fresh in your brain. You think, hey, that matters. This is cool. This is good to know. So when I have a question of continuity or a question of character, I can remember from chapter 5 that Sherlock does this or would do something like that. And he does. He's very logical. He's a very rational man. He wouldn't act emotionally. And that's what we expect. Consistency, logic, and history in our little stories. So this YouTube video is from a YouTuber called Rowan J. Coleman. And this is going to be a great video because I like this guy. He does some really good videos. I don't know why he turned off comments, though. That's weird. But the video just came out last month, I believe. And this guy covers Babylon 5. He does Star Trek. He does all kinds of science fiction stuff. So he's right up my alley. And he feels like a real, honest fan. That's he just says what he feels, references the lore. And he's actually making a video about, or made a video about lore, which is awesome. So it's only 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Shouldn't take long. Nice, relaxing, lazy Sunday for everyone. Get a nice tea. Get, lime juice, lime water, whatever you like. None of that soda pop crap. Get some vitamins in your body and rehydrate. Relax. Get some electrolytes going. So
this stream is not supported by
by
San Pellegrino.
By San Pellegrino coconut juice or pineapple juice or whatever. Limoncello. Is it limonata? I can't remember what San Pellegrino is.
Limonata and limoncello, yeah.
Yeah, limonata. Guys, don't drink. I'm telling you, don't drink San Pellegrino limonata or whatever. It's too acidic. Unless you have a straw and it bypasses your teeth or you mix it with water, it'll dissolve the enamel on your teeth, so gotta watch that. Anyway, we're waiting for a few people. We're gonna start without them. I think they'll be fine. Bears is here. We got Whisp.
They will come soon,
and I think Gingaman's coming as well. But we'll get going without them. It's a good video, I'm sure. So let's go.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a bit of a rant on something weirdly specific. Being someone steeped in long-running sci-fi and fantasy franchises and the numerous, often asinine debates among fans of those franchises, I wanted to address something which I thought was especially stupid: making things non-canon.
Okay, so that could mean many things. That could be the things we saw with the EU and Star Wars, where Disney just threw it all off the table and then slowly brought some of it back because they knew that they were screwed and they had to use something to make the fans happy again. That could be a story or side story, like a comic book from a film series or a video game series, and saying, yeah, this didn't really happen. This was just a fun project that we wanted to do because whatever. Or within the existing series where they make a video game within a video game series and they don't regard that, don't reference it. It's still canon, but it doesn't influence anything, so it doesn't make a difference. It's just there, like Star Wars Galaxy, I think, with Jacob Taylor and Miranda Lawson. Like, no one knows what that is. No one's played it. There was Mass Effect Infiltrator, I think, was a iPad game. No one knows what that is. No one's referenced it, so it may as well be non-canon. So there's things that are technically canon, but are irrelevant. So there's lots.
Yeah, I think like Disney raising the EU was a very drastic measure. Like at first when we heard about it, there was rich and like I believe that like there were like too many stories that just didn't make sense to be in the same universe, but still,
if you
they backpedaled back on that shit.
You think a guy who does Star Trek content would be A-okay with things being non-canon, i.e. Threshold? Voyager?
Yeah, it really depends because with Star Wars, you spent billions of bucks on the biggest franchise at the time in movie history. And yes, some of the stuff in the books contradicted itself, but guess what? Just cancel those ones. Throw those out because they're weird or stupid or whatever. Keep the good stuff. and they should have went with what do fans really like, and they should have done polls. They should have done interviews. They should have talked to everyone, say what's awesome. They go like KOTOR 1 and 2, and all the stuff with the was it the not the Driss, the Chris, the Chiss, that group of stories.
Oh, the Chiss, yeah.
Like all those cool aliens. Like keep that stuff in, and then just work from that because people are expecting that. So why not? Why keep making more and more aliens? I mean, you could if you're really good, which they're not. So that's the problem there. As with Star Trek, that's a great point because this was one thing I wanted to bring up later of the Gorn. If you guys remember the exciting action fight scene with Shatner,
arena.
With Shatner and the guy in the green lizard costume. I don't know who that guy was, but he was a Gorn.
It was the Gorn.
It was the Gorn, and he had his microphone. I don't know what the freaking hell he was doing. But it was the funniest shit you've ever seen, as a fight scene in the 60s or whenever it was.
Yes.
And then just last week, they reinvented the Gorn with a retcon and turned them into like cannibalistic alien, like from the Alien movie.
Why?
They are so... It blew my mind. This is a thriller show now, like just the episode 9. And it was so cool. There was some stupid shit, but it was like, wow, that's a big step up from the hilarity that was the Gorn in the 60s. So, yeah, if the lore sucks, fix it. Why not? If the inconsistency and logic is poor, make it logical, make it consistent. Put it down in the sand or whatever the phrase is, the idiom is for. Draw your line in the sand, saying this is now canon. This is how it should be done. This is better, and that's what we wanted with KOTOR and Star Wars. I think if everyone said, yes, this is the best as it gets, that's our standard, work from there, and that would have been great. But, we got the movies instead, which played off episode 6, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, back to the Gorn example, I would say, the 60s version is definitely very, very cheesy. And, it didn't age too well.
Ooh.
But the message was that, can humanity overcome their aggressive nature to, be diplomatic? And, Kirk, displayed that by the end of the episode. If I remember correctly, because, they were put there by a benevolent race that are, thousands upon thousands of years, advanced than them. I guess as long as the message still stays as that humanity can still achieve that, but the Gorn is actually badass and they can be an actual threat than this hilarity of a 60s guy in a weird costume, then yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah, it's not quite the same, the message of the original compared to that one. The Gorn were sort of foreshadowed as Strange New Worlds went on because we had a character whose life was destroyed from that. And they fought them and survived. There's they steal people and use them as birthing chambers and
yeah, that's weird because I remember that the Federation were actually in the wrong because they were attacking land that were owned by the Gorn, and they were just invading the area. That's pretty much where they retaliated in the first place. But because of the communication, they just couldn't communicate. That's why it happened. But I would say that episode was done better in Darmok and Gelad from TNG.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they can they had the communication problem, but they got together by the end, and that was done much more.
That is probably the hallmark of TNG because that represents what Picard is. He's a diplomat. He's a thinker.
That's his best part. Picard.
Yeah, and the concept of that civilization that used not simile, but it was just all metaphor, and that doesn't make any sense when you talk about piloting a spaceship or making a spaceship work. How would you explain? We need to, fix the coolant leak in Deck 4. Michael on the ocean sunbathes Jeff, and you're like, what is that? How does that translate? None of it would make sense.
Smart, they are programming languages brainfuck, but they are using that on Eiffel.
They're constantly reprogrammed. Yeah, they're using Eiffel to recombine entire programming language to make a new language. It's what? So, but yeah, no, there's lots of great episodes that have these things, and the Gorn were desperately, like, they combine Gorn, like everything about the Gorn is violent. When they're born, they eat each other, they fight for dominance, they eat them, they procreate by spitting on anything that's organic. It's like, whoa, that's like projectile eggs, like, holy shit. Then there's they have these
Sounds
ships
cool.
that are just like, they sacrifice each other. They get they're completely aggressive. Like, the Klingons are warrior likes. They have honor, though. They have all these disciplines and whatever. The Gorn are just, I'm going to come at you as fast and as hard as I can at any stage of my existence, either as a brainless little baby or as a technological I don't know, race with spaceships. It's just crazy. We never actually talked to them, so we don't know. But that kind of retcon really, like, oh my God, that's freaky. It should have been another alien race, but, use the Gorn, make them better. I don't care. It's an alternate universe anyways. Who gives a shit?
I think by this point, like the Strange Universe and Discovery have used like all the races or like the different like aliens that you get from TOS.
There's a lot.
I think like the I can't remember. It's the one that like Pike in the TOS have encountered. Telosians? Yeah.
Oh,
like
God.
The ones who can use the illusion.
Yeah. There's all kind of, like, the Binars were really cool. Those felt really alien in TNG. There was the Benzites. They had this little breathing thing on their chest that popped up to their mouth, and like, they were really alien-ish species that it's like, just bring those back. Just have them. And for whatever reason, we don't. Which is, you could say that's member berries, but like, that's what you would expect. You'd expect to have aliens you remember that are there, and there are characters, and they have plots, and they have backstories and flaws and all that good stuff. So, not necessarily retconning, but I wouldn't mind having another Benzite around, or Barber Mott, whatever the hell he was. I don't know why they had a barber on. Like, what a strange job. Like, the jobs that never run out. Prostitute, lawyer, barber, and Taylor, and mortuary guy.
Yeah.
The guy who puts you in your grave. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going.
Hey, Wisp.
Hello. Okay, we'll wait for her.
Guten Abend.
Wait for Wisp. Anyway, let's keep going.
To give a few examples of what I'm talking about, let's look at Star Wars. Sure. The recent sequel trilogy, which started with The Force Awakens and ended with The Rise of Skywalker, has proven to be controversial, to say the least. And the detractors of these movies have often floated the idea that this trilogy was so bad and did so...
I just noticed he's recommending Babylon 5, a retrospective, up in the top right there, but that's neither here nor there. I just thought
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny because I love Babylon 5, and it's just like, Babylon 5. Oh, cool. Anyway.
One of these days I'm gonna watch it.
Oh God, that's like, once you watch it, you're not gonna stop. You're like, oh, it's so good.
I just don't know like which one should I watch first, DS9 or Babylon 5.
Babylon 5, yeah.
Okay.
It'll blow them all away. Yeah, you'll be like, oh, this is the standard. Okay, anyway.
Much damage to Star Wars that it should be removed from canon entirely and possibly even remade. And some clickbait so-called news channels here on YouTube have even gone so far as to make up stories that Disney...
Yeah, like those channels, I feel a bit sorry for that they still believe that they just gotta like erase like the sequel trilogy, because they're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
It's just gonna end up with those movies. Like Disney would admit that like they have made a mistake with the sequel trilogy if they just released like 3 movies worth of content, regardless if it was bad or not.
I don't think it really matters, even if they say it's decanonized, because the movies still exist. You can still download and watch them. Disney doesn't care. They could decanonize and recanonize whatever they want, and they've done that with the EU. So, what difference does it make at this point? I don't know. Like,
I would say like really bad retcons are worse than like decanonization. Like what the Obi-Wan series have displayed, because that was just way over the top.
Well, look at just bad content to begin with. Look at look at Star Trek movies. Like, those are, every other movie is horrible, and some of them are like the other half are like meh. Oh, it's a good.
I would say like the TOS movies were like mostly like good ones. Except for the fifth one.
It's like the even numbers.
With God.
Oh God, yeah. There was Sarek, yeah.
I mean, like I personally liked The Search for Spock. Christopher Lloyd as the Klingon was pretty memorable.
Give me Genesis. It was great, yeah.
Yeah, he got angry because they killed the dog.
Oh, it's fantastic. No, there's all kinds of great actors that we didn't know in those films, but there's such a different change from when people write Star Trek episodes to saying, oh, this is a Star Trek episode with a bigger budget. And we saw that with, what was that dumb TNG movie where they found the 500-year-old community that were like connected telekinetically?
Oh God, I don't know, but it has like Wolf's purple space bazooka. That was such a dumb plot.
It was so silly, and all this dumb shit kept happening, and it was like, okay, this is like if someone who was writing a script for a 40-minute episode of Star Trek was like, and then he can get into a dune buggy, and then it's like, no, don't do that. That's stupid.
Yeah, it like reminded me like a really bad like two-part from TNG. I think it was Descent. Like it was the end of season 6 and like the beginning of season 7, and it was like Lore coming back and like he takes control of the Borg. Like that was awful.
That whole cliffhanger, which wasn't like a non-cliffhanger.
Who cares? Just like end of episode.
Yeah, that was after the Jellicoe episode, Chain of Command, which was amazing. Like that should have been.
Yes,
that should have been the ending of the season, because that was such a great episode on so many levels, and it mixed things up. Even Troy finally started acting like a goddamn officer and dressing properly, and not being the scared little, well, what does that do? What does the warp core do? Like, she had no clue what the hell it was like, what the
quite honestly, I like wanted Jellicoe to be more in TNG, but like fortunately it was just a guest appearance.
I know. If Jellicoe was like in charge more, like Picard, I have to take over the Enterprise again. Yeah.
Like he knew everything, like what the Kardashians would do.
Keep him waiting for another hour. It's like, what?
We have to release Picard. We gotta get it out from him.
It was so cool. It was so good. Jellicoe was awesome. Oh God. Anyway, let's see what he has to say about these weird YouTube channels.
Lucasfilm are actually doing just that. They aren't, by the way. A similar idea was also floated with Game of Thrones. The reception to the final season of Game of Thrones was disliked by so many people that a petition popped up demanding the entire season be remade. I also think a similar idea propagates the debates around modern Star Trek. There seems to be a fanatical determinism from detractors of these shows to illustrate why they don't actually take place in the prime timeline.
Well, they don't. I mean, they could say they do, but there's so many inconsistencies. You just go, nope, this is not the same world. There's no way any of this connects, because as soon as you make a small one, you say you missed something, buddy, and you make another one, and it just keeps going and going and going. You're like, okay, I can't. There's no way you could handle this. And this is not like a sequel. This is not like Zelda. Well, Zelda's kind of all over the place, but
Zelda is more episodic, I would say.
Yeah,
like it has some sequels in its own universe. I think like Ocarina and Majora are connected.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
some of the Wind Waker ones. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of like a consistent series, but there's really nothing I can think. Even like Mass Effect is all over the place. But you expect a through line that is connected with what came before in a very referential method, to the point where Mass Effect has a big codex. You can look it up and say, oh, this is what happened. This is why it happened. Like with Mankind Divided with Deus Ex. They just went...
Oh, yes. That was a really good prequel.
It was a good sequel, but they went like crazy. They went, okay, let's just choose the worst ending possible, where Adam Jensen goes nihilistic and blows everything up. And you're like...
Oh, Mankind Divided. Okay, because I thought like you were talking about Human Revolution.
Well... With Human Revolution, that's probably a better example, because that takes an older series and says it takes place in the same world, but we're doing a prequel. So because it's a prequel, you can get away with whatever. And
did this guy just say that the new Star Trek takes place in the Prime universe, by the way?
I think so, yeah.
Well, obviously he's a retard because it takes place in the Kelvin universe.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah,
because like the prime one is like for Kirk, yeah.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams set up at the start of Star Trek 09. The split is when Captain James Kirk's dad dies on the Kelvin at the start of the movie. So everything that happens after that is in the Kelvin universe now. So Discovery and all these lot that take place after that time, it's the Kelvin universe. So it has nothing. There's no connection to anything in the Prime universe.
I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. It's such a shit show that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it's so terrible, but the idea that like. This is how you know that all this new stuff since JJ took over, then Alex Kurtzman, is just literally people who hate Star Trek because nothing matters. The only thing that takes place in the Prime universe is Picard, and that's like that just saddens me.
It is too much, too crazy, too broken, too bad, too stupid. Like it's just so much crap.
It's hard to believe that Picard's in the Prime universe.
Yeah, and two of them are cartoons.
It rather looks like it's some bizarro world mirror universe as well. That's with just the same actors playing these characters, but it's different characters.
That was the general feeling of some more intelligent viewers when Discovery first came out. They said, "Wait a second, this is too weird. There's something weird going on. The tone is weird. The characters are weird. This is not the future of whatever. We're in the mirror universe." Which would be an amazing, like this is kind of the final cut or the extended cut sort of logic of Mass Effect fans saying, oh, they're just going to twist everything on its head. It was all one crazy fever dream. You were indoctrinated, blah, blah, blah. You're like, that sounds horrible, but at least it would make some sense compared to what we got. And they didn't do that. So
yeah, the thing is as well, it's like Discovery is set 10 years before Kirk becomes captain of the Enterprise. So it's a bit like, oh, hang on, this doesn't add up.
Right. And then there's the Enterprise show, which has the Enterprise NX-01, which was before Kirk. And you're like, where does that go? And it's just...
Well, see, that's the only thing from pre-2009 that is set in both universes. Because it happens before the Kelvin incident. Enterprise is set 200 years before TOS.
Right. And
the Kelvin incident is 30 years before TOS.
It's interesting because as much as like Strange New Worlds, I don't care to know where it fits because at least I have something I can watch that doesn't hurt. That doesn't make me go, what is this shit? So I'm like, this, as far as I'm concerned, it is its own thing, and that's it. I don't care if it's connected. I don't care who these characters are. Everyone looks different anyway. Like Nurse Chapel's a young chick who's got spots on her left arm. I don't know if you see, like they're imperfect actors. She takes her she wears a dress, and you see her arm. She's got all these like birthmarks, or not birthmarks, but... pimples or whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's the dirty universe. Everyone's sick. I don't give a shit. Let's just fucking go with that. So, no one knows how science and technology works. There's aliens who are smarter than you. They won't give it to you. They won't help you. This guy loses his daughter, and then he cures her within 2 episodes. You're like, oh, it's, there's a lot of stupid things, but it's fun. It's fun. It's done well. It looks great. Sounds good. Amazing visuals. You're going to enjoy it. And I'm happy with the direction it's going. It's not Star Trek in the way you think, and that's fine. I don't mind it. Anyway, let's see what he has to say.
The Midnight's Edge famously made up a completely ridiculous story that Discovery et al. Have to be 25% different in appearance to differentiate themselves from the older shows. Again, no they don't. That's a stupid idea based on lies.
No, it's not. But that's what the executives said, and Alex Kurtzman said.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad to hear that because it's like, oh my god, you just ruined everything that's going to come after. Yeah, It's all set up
Yeah,
poorly.
but also it's also the fact that yes, the new stuff isn't in Prime Universe. That's why it's even called the Prime Universe, because they created another universe.
Yeah, but that is the biggest admission that is not Star Trek, but you could say a ripoff.
Yeah, this is what I've said before is this is them having their ideas are rubbish, so they just paint it over with a original IP. So what they had an idea of black space woman.
That it goes towards, yeah. If we have to be so different.
Uh-oh.
Is Whisp gone?
Whisp is gone again.
Oh my god, the Germans are just disappearing left, right, and centre.
It has happened again. Wisp has too many tabs open and it just kills his...
Is Wisp having internet problems?
It happened before, yeah.
Oh, the computer, yeah. I remember now.
Maybe it's the heat. Maybe it's not enough oil.
Mm-hmm.
It is rather hot right now in Europe, at least in the east right now.
Yes,
I still have my AC running and it's 30 outside, 30 Celsius. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's
11 p.m.
All right. Well,
yeah. What I think what me and Wisp were actually trying to get to was they've got these ideas. They know it's not going to sell, so they just steal another IP and then they make it as far away. These little things like, oh, there's the Enterprise, and oh, there's Starfleet and stuff like that, and then it's we do everything differently. So
I'm impressed with the size of the sets. They're just giant. They use the entire whatever the film crew used. I think someone's filmed in Toronto. They have these giant football-sized sets, and they just that the bridge is gigantic, the hallways are huge, everything is gigantic on these ships, and you're like, holy, you got a lot of room and space. I thought ships were supposed to be tight and small and be efficient. And no, you're just running around. Everyone's running everywhere. It's kind of funny on the ship. So I thought that was cute, but it gets a little silly at times. The Copperal, thanks for the $1.11, sir. So am I the only one who thought the Gorn was related to those hunter lizard aliens from DS9? Okay. Also, woe is me for missing Friday stream for Pokemon was mentioned. Oh yeah, well, that was a lot of talk about Pokemon. I just want to let that run because...
Oh god, yeah. But by the way, DS9 references the Gorn because Cisco is fanboying over Kirk. They're like, God, James D. Kirk is the guy who beat the Gorn. I'm paraphrasing, but I remember he's crazy, I gotta meet with Captain James D. Kirk.
Oh god, yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because
they go back in time, don't they, in an episode?
Yeah, he goes back in time, and it has better green screen effects than Discovery does.
Jadzia with the freaking skirt, you're like, this is standard uniform. I was like, okay. You go for that.
Hell yeah! TOS designs are just
You when people mention about those skirts in TOS, does everyone forget about the skirts that men wore in TNG?
Yeah, that's where it went down for.
The first seasons with the yeomen just wandering around in those skirt uniforms.
The dress uniforms, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I was people going oh, it's so sexist. I'm like, there's literally a guy with hairy legs in the background of one episode of TNG with the skirt. It's
I like it. The space, what they call the cheerleader, Troy, her first episode in first season.
Oh.
That was hilarious.
No, cheerleaders are supposed to make you happy and want them around.
This one makes you kill yourself.
At least it was a uniform. At least she actually was in a uniform of some kind, and then she started using dresses. What the dress?
Isn't it like canon now that each time Troy's helmed the Enterprise, it's crashed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless Jellicoe is around.
Troy, I want you off the bridge. Get into a proper uniform. We do things a certain way. I was like, what? Okay. Good stuff.
Deanna Take the Con turns 90% of their weapons away from the enemy.
I was waiting for him to call in RoboCop, but it never happened.
I always wanted Data to just plug himself into the ship and say, "Let me help you guys. I know what I'm doing," and just
I mean, he's done that multiple times.
Yeah, just fly the ship instantly, fire phasers perfectly, do crazy maneuvers that would normally get everyone killed, but he knows what he's doing.
There was that one episode where Picard drives out from the asteroid field,
the booby trap,
and Data has trouble believing that Picard can actually do it because he says it's impossible.
Does anyone remember when Riker used a joystick to drive the Enterprise?
Yes.
Generations.
The motherfucking movie.
That was the crash into the ground maneuver. It's thanks, Riker. That was amazing. You did a good job there.
Was it in the movie or episode? I can't.
No, that was in Star Trek Insurrection. One of many really dumb things about that movie.
That's the movie with the 600 people who don't age.
Yep.
The purple space bazooka movie.
Mm-hmm. 600 people that don't age and don't reproduce.
Apart from all the kids.
And they're super healthy, and it gets everyone horny on the.
So they are super mutants without all the good perks.
Mm-hmm. You know the worst thing about that movie is it destroys the Worf-Troy romance they built up in season 6.
So
they go back to the Riker.
The Worf-Jadzia romance is better.
So the Riker Jadzia. Or sorry, the Riker-Troy romance could come back for some reason. I was like, why are we doing this? How did this happen? This was old news.
It could come back so they could have a wedding scene in Nemesis.
Yeah.
Because that was a movie.
Where, what is it? Wesley is somehow a member of Starfleet? Or something?
Even though he left with the space pedophile.
Yeah, but the best thing about that is he's actually... The scene was filmed, and the director just trimmed the... ratio, the screen ratio down, so it cuts off Wesley. So the film looked really weird. He just did that to get rid of the actor.
I know, it's awesome.
Absolutely,
he was in the film, but no, I never saw him. You're like, wait, and then you look at scenes of the film. You're like, oh, there's Wesley. He's in the.
You look at credits and it goes Will Wheaton. You're like, I didn't see him in this movie.
It's great.
What the hell is this? Was he in it?
Not when I saw it. No. But I saw screen caps and I was like, where the hell was he? Anyway. Here's Jake the Surgeon. Thank you, sir. Force ghosts interacting with the physical world should be erased. That's a questionable one.
Have you seen the latest thing that come out about Force ghosts interacting with the physical world?
What happened?
Well, in episode 5, when you see Obi-Wan as a Force ghost for the first time,
right.
As he walks past some trees, the branches move.
Oh, and he sits on the log.
Yes.
Yeah, he interacts with the physical world.
So it means that Force ghosts can interact with physical stuff. And I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, really? This is okay.
Right. Well, we saw, gravity obviously affects them. Optics affects them. When, what's his name? When Luke was about to pass out in the snow, he saw a vision, out in the distance. It's like, okay, there's all this stuff happening with the Force, and then all of a sudden you have Force ghosts walking around and interacting. You're like, well, okay, they can look like they're interacting with stuff to help the person to communicate better, but yeah, they shouldn't be moving objects.
Yeah, why is it constantly that with new movies and franchises that dying doesn't stop people doing stuff? Death no longer stops people.
Yeah, that would have been the greatest thing from Obi-Wan saying, I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. It's like, now I'm invincible. I don't have a body. I can shoot lightning out of my face.
The way that he said it sounds like, this is quite an amazing bit of power. But now every Tom, Dick and Harry who's even seen a lightsaber can come back as a Force ghost. It's like, oh, okay. It's like,
you should have just teleported to Palpatine and just fuck you.
Palpatine, you strike me down like more powerful. Palpatine got blown up twice and completely destroyed, and he still came back.
There was that one microbe that survived. You see,
Palpatine in some old scene when an actor moves around and the branch moves, you can just say, okay, it makes a ghostly wind. If anything, but in the end, it's just a direction error or continuity error.
These are the same people that are saying that Star Wars was never serious because that stormtrooper bangs his head in that one scene on the door.
Star Wars was always radical at the same time.
What I rather see is that these very people look for justifications for everything they want to have in it, but at the same time say we must change everything we don't like the misogyny or the lack of black people and all these other things. Those must all be changed, but for the things that they want to have in there, like Yoda making lightning, they will look for excuses and justifications. They do care about certain, it's not that they care about canon, it's that they care about the things they want to have in it.
Mm-hmm. I just love Mark's idea of super perfect Palpatine. Just coming back from one singular cell, more powerful than ever, and then doing a struggle.
Wasn't that the thing with a perfect cell? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he Deadpool? What happened there?
No, it's from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
we thought that the cell was dead, and then it's one microbe managed to survive me self-destructing, and because that one microbe knew what it was like to be perfect. Yeah. He also absorbed Goku's instant transmission from blowing himself up.
That's actually it just comes to me. You know, like that Star Wars thing where they bang the head. That used to be called like a movie blooper. Is that like trying to say that movie bloopers are now like canon stuff? As in,
yes.
Like when you used to look around for see like someone in the back, like a one of the crew in the background of stuff. It's like that bloke wearing jeans in Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that now mean that in Middle Earth they'd invented jeans? There's a group of people who wear white shirts and jeans.
Have you mentioned the Voyager Lizard episode?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah, but that is the proof for it makes sense to decanonize things and just scrap them and forget they ever existed. Good.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. I don't care.
And Disney threw out all the expanded universe stuff. So it's okay when they throw stuff out, but not when fans say this is so much bullshit. Please get rid of it.
It's a hard argument because they bought it. They can do whatever they want, and then they realize we don't know what to do. We need to make money. How do we do that? And then it's like bring back stuff that people liked.
We don't know what to do.
Making social justice crap. Then you make.
We don't know what to do. Damn! If only there were 30 years of books that we could draw from.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Listen, I've got a great idea, but you and Mark will agree with. Right? So Star Wars has all gone to crap. Right? What they need to do is play Pool with Planet. Right? And it'll erase the entire timeline.
Yeah.
And no one will have any memory of it.
Exactly.
Nope.
All right, let's keep going.
Can't get along with that.
Jake the Surgeon again for the 5. Mac slicing a giant monster in half, unmorphed, should be erased from canon.
Yes, it should be.
What are we talking about?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
The context for this,
What are we talking about?
I don't want to.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah, Mac.
This was okay. Long story short, this was during the 15th anniversary of Power Rangers. In the second part of the anniversary, the main team lost their powers. The people that came back were in trouble, and the main team lost their powers, so they had to find some way to help the backup. And they found a magic sword, Excelsior. And so the Red Ranger just came in, unmorphed, just jumped up into the air and sliced the goddamn monster in half like it ain't nothing. So yes, that should be erased from canon.
Power creep.
That is... I'm very impressed that someone knows that. I'm also kind of scared that someone in chat said that and someone on the panel knew what they were talking about.
Well, guess what? The Power Rangers guy just arrived.
Oh. Okay.
The Legend of the Power Rangers will come.
I still choose to believe we're talking about It's Always Sunny.
Yeah,
and that one also,
I don't know what's going on.
And that one leads into the other one from Jake the Surgeon. Any instance of a Power Ranger being a giant monster without a Zord needs to be erased from canon. Not every instance. I would not erase Red Ranger from Lightspeed just coming up to 2 monsters just with his guns. That one stays.
Okay. Wow.
I have no shame.
All right. Fair enough. I salute you, sir, for your fandom.
Where I was cut out before is Discovery and all this other shit. They deliberately made 25% different because the thing is, when you make your stuff already 25% different while imitating the original thing, that means you want to avoid copyright issues from the get-go. Like you are already making it along legal guidelines. So something is wrong with your product.
Isn't that actually a legal thing? Change something by 25%.
Yeah.
You don't get done for plagiarism.
Yeah, that's the US rules.
Yep.
But,
Interesting.
And that means that it is deliberately not Star Trek. It's something else that they somehow are allowed to slam the name on.
Keep telling you, this is all they keep doing.
Right.
They just even IPs to make the shitty stories.
Okay, let's get back to the video.
And for example, there's also the Chris Chibnall era of Doctor Who and its controversial Timeless Child arc. Many Who fans not happy with this era and this arc say Russell T Davies should simply erase all trace of this era when he takes over as showrunner. Now, as you can probably tell from my tone and also the title of the video, I find this idea to be pretty dumb. Now, I understand being angry or disappointed at a new installment of a franchise you like. I myself am not really a fan of Chibnall's Doctor Who, and Season 2 of Star Trek Picard was just... what happened there? But I find the idea of saying these installments should be erased from canon to be the height of fan entitlement, and also ignorance as to how any creative industry actually works. The very...
my guy...
I mean, why? We were just fine not knowing about the War Doctor existing at all until we were straight up told about it.
I see.
Without the fans, the thing would not exist.
Yeah, I see no difference between decanonizing something and just never mentioning anything from it ever again. It's the same thing.
It's more or less that it's the same thing.
I'm so sick of this fucking perspective. Like, if you put money to buy a product and you don't get the product you want, you're not entitled for wanting a refund.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like no one mentions. There's always a joke about the Matrix sequel.
Oh god!
It's like, oh, I can't believe they only made one movie, or like the Highlander movies. You know what I mean? People have
the Highlander movie. That one, that was really good.
The fact that there's no RoboCop 3. It's, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and the Dragonheart movies, the 6 of them.
The singular movie, you mean?
They made 6.
No, it's not.
I know. Oh god, you wouldn't believe it if you didn't see it. Patrick Stewart voices a dragon.
I've seen the second one, and I wanted to gouge my own eyes out.
It gets worse.
Exactly. But people have done that for ages. We've just ignored sequels and everything like that. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it too much because you're just such a bad writer, that just means that your product is just going more and more to shit. And with other things, it's debatable for fans whether they accept the second trilogy of the Dune books, because they weren't written by Herbert himself.
Yeah,
but his son.
That's always been an issue. Yeah, with the sons. Was it the son or the friend? I can't remember. They both did it.
Son.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, but it's just as crazy. Like, you read the first to the children, and you go to the next one, and you're like, okay, that is still over the top, but still believable within the context of the world, because the world's already over the top. So,
I had a colleague who was really into Dune, and he said like whatever the son wrote was just like complete bullshit. He said like the father was great, but like if I ever get to Dune, just stop after like the son takes over, because it's just not no.
Yeah, but there's loads of places. There's loads of like bits of media where you go, right, this is quite clearly an ending, and anything else after this, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's fine. People have decanonized.
When the majority says this shit doesn't matter, then it is by major public consensus, it's already decanonized, because no one pays attention to it.
Well, the opposite.
It's as if it never existed.
Yeah, but
no one pays attention to Jaws: The Revenge.
Oh, really?
Like, come on.
Well, the opposite of that is when you have a really popular series that the author wants to stop making, like with Sherlock Holmes, where he brings him back from falling to his death, allegedly. Or with Metal Gear Solid, where Kojima doesn't want to make anymore, but they keep throwing money at him. So he keeps making more dumb stories that are fun to play.
It's really weird. There's like a series where like people go like, well, 1, 2, like 4 and 7 or something like that are canon, but like the rest of it isn't. And you're like, wait, what? And you're like, which ones are actually like, you know what I mean? I can't remember which series it is. But
I have an idea, vaguely. I think I've heard of that.
So they're like, so people like pick and choose which ones you choose as like your story of stuff. Because there's so many people say it's the end, and this actually retcons this, and I can't remember which one it is, but to me it just feels like we can decanonize it. It's been done before, and just because
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil is one where it's like, which ones do you follow? But
I mean, that's a bit unfair because with Resident Evil it is a bit easier to know what's canon and what's not.
Yeah, but what I mean is that the thing is like the idea that Disney decanonizing something, it's far fetched in a way that, like people have said, they put way too much money into it to admit failure.
Yeah, it's more about losing face for them, because they are the big American company that Americans will defend on principle, not because they make good things. So they cannot do wrong. But we are getting into an era right now, where Disney is deliberately creating horrible things that people actively reject. You could almost say fight. With what they're churning out with Pixar and their current cartoons.
But then what gets with me is the idea that in 20, 30 years' time, they won't come back and do something that will retcon the sequel trilogy is,
It's so sad that it can't be done with the original actors. That would have been...
Because I have a feeling that they're just wanting to remake the original trilogy anyway. And they'll get round to that at some point when enough years have passed.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think Straczynski still wants to make a Babylon 5 remake, and I highly hope he won't.
I think he's pushing for it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, at least wait another 5 years.
It's one of those things.
You really need to do that. Wait another 5 years until this whole social justice shit has blown over.
I have a feeling that say the original trilogy with Star Wars, once Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill actually pass away, I think it's going to be quite open for them to do something, because they don't have to deal with those two people with their contracts and stuff. So
yeah, okay.
I think once big actors die, everything's open for stuff.
All right. Here is Jake the Surgeon, and we're going to have another donation as well. Carter didn't destroy them. If memory serves me right, he just shot at them because he's the definition of a man.
Agreed.
Okay.
But
American man.
Is this still Power Rangers stuff?
Yeah.
That was the last one.
All right.
There's an instance where a canon change is accepted. That is in Stargate, where they made a couple changes to how the aliens work, how some other things work for the series. In part, probably due to budget.
Well, if you can remember the guns, how they work, what the hell they called those crazy scorpion-looking lightning guns?
Those didn't even exist in the movie.
Oh yeah, I know, but they're so funny. The first shot stuns you. The second shot
kills you. The third one makes the corpse disappear.
Disintegrates.
Which was solely to clean up the set so that need to care less about continuity.
Yeah.
And And later on, they realized, oh fuck, these weapons are too powerful with that.
It was so crazy because there's scenes.
So they try to forget their existence.
Yeah, there's scenes where some of the I can't remember the guy's name. He's the stand-in for Daniel when he was gone. He was firing the gun, and obviously there's no special effects, but you see him like doing all these poses. It's like 4 seconds of him doing these poses when the action's done, and nothing's happening through his gun. They kept it in.
Really?
Oh, it's like what is happening there? It's funny. Anyway, Caporal, thank you, sir. Again, off topic. But I'll bring it back up a few days later. If you were in a fantastical world, what would you be? Elf, knight, conquistador, samurai, etc. Also, no ghosts. Oh, okay.
I
am not a ghost. I'm a spirit.
I don't think they were referring to you.
I was in a fantasy world. I would probably be dead, like everyone else would be.
No. If they're saying if you could, like in a Pathfinder game, right? You can pick what you are.
Mm-hmm.
What would you be?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. Probably an alcoholic.
Okay, we're just gonna go with your fucking coward elf character that died in that one Pathfinder game.
No, I didn't die.
Yeah, you fucking did. Motherfucker, my character saw your character get eaten alive by mold. Don't tell me he didn't die.
No, because I wasn't in that. I left the game session after the second one.
Yeah, but your character still died. Your character still died, so you're gonna be an elven wizard that dies of mold at the age of 72.
For these fantasy games, I always enjoy the ranger style class, the one that has a pet. Because what ends up happening is the pet grows with you. So you have this massive animalistic tank while you're like far away shooting arrows and you're safe while you throw your giant boar or whatever it is at the enemy.
Unless you play D&D 4, where you share your movement and attack with your pet.
Oh, that's retarded.
It is. Yeah. D&D 4 is retarded.
So when I played the first Pathfinder game, I turned all my team into these. I think they were called Sacred Huntmaster, which are subclasses of Inquisitors. So everyone had their own stunning tank, while everyone else had bows and arrows. We were just pelting everyone around. So it didn't matter if our pets died, because they would never permanently die. They would just get red injured, and you just bring them back with a health potion, and everyone else would just be far away from the action, while our swarm of a mob of dogs and centipedes and whatever just destroyed whatever's around us. So made loading times.
I would be a conquistador like Cortez.
Oh yes,
that's pretty badass. Like I can destroy the Aztecs again. Wow, beautiful.
God. I thought you'd be a conquistador like Don Quixote.
That can play as well.
Tilting against windmills. Like get fucked with the Dutch.
Oh. Rolling a nat 20 against windmills.
I guess I just have to go with my 6'8", 225-pound Muay Thai monk character that I'm currently playing. Pretty good fit.
Monk is always a good choice, yeah.
Right. Especially the flurry of blows.
They just do everything. They're tanks, they're DPS, they're stunners, they're
To be honest with you, whenever I think of Bears playing this game, I always remember when Bears had a go at Zach that time. Bears, stop making your character attack things, and yours was like, all he does is attack things. He just throws axes.
I think the thing Hawk is talking about, like, we were attacked by some castle worms that were attached to an ancient tree that we were walking, it was in a forest that we were walking through. And these things take a bite out of Hawk's character. It was like, full on just grab him by the trap, and then start squeezing the fuck out of him. And then they yell at us in Draconic. Oh, my character doesn't know Draconic. And the party's getting attacked. And he was bitten at, but the guy missed. So, like, I'm just going to fucking hit it. Like, what am I supposed to do? These things have killing intent.
Yeah, the monk's solution to most things is punch. It's fantastic. It's like,
yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, but the thing is, also funny is the only person who could talk to him had been attacked and was like being strangled to death.
Yeah. The only person that could talk couldn't talk at the moment. So, yeah.
All right. All right, here's our last super chat. We'll get on with the video. Jake the Surgeon again. My pet is a giant koala. Wow. But it knows that it can eat my enemies without them being on trees. I don't know if you're talking from experience or you're talking from a video game or a tabletop.
But the thing is, all your enemies have to do is stand on a plate and your koala won't know that it's food.
Oh.
Yeah, true. I have a question, because I joined late. Is this guy complaining about fans wanting stupid stuff decanonized, or is this is he also thinking it's stupid when new movies and shows are basically decanonizing old content by just doing random bullshit?
Well, it's kind of
so far it seems to be like the fans that has a beef with.
Okay, so he doesn't have a problem if a show just rewrites everything that came before.
Don't ask questions, just consume product and get excited for next product.
It's that
I can understand that like these like small fan complaints are not gonna amount to the place where it came from, the origin. Like they're not gonna care about the fans, like what they say that like this was crap. It's like they're not gonna change their opinion. Like he seems to understand that like these changes were all garbage, but like he seems to believe that like if the fans complain about it, nothing's gonna change, which is wrong. If enough people come together and tell him that these studios that like this was garbage, they're gonna like have to retaliate. Well, not to retaliate, but like come together and come to like a different approach. Yeah, they have to react to it.
In short,
or just go full Disney and just blame it on racism.
Mm-hmm. So he's an idiot who can't think for himself and just takes whatever the top tells him.
I would say that because like from what Smut said, like the channel itself is fine.
Yeah,
it's just he seems to have this opinion that's just too much.
Wait, Mark, did you forget the time when we covered this guy on Sloppy Seconds and he did?
Wait, this is the same guy?
This is the same guy.
Wait, is this the guy who made like the TNG review? If I'm
Yes.
Oh, you're fucking joking.
No.
Yes.
No. Okay, Smut, I don't know what you were talking about.
his Bat 5 reviews are great. I don't know about his TNG reviews. I haven't seen those.
He made a 5-minute long TNG review.
It was a retrospective. It was a retrospective on all of the characters in TNG.
It was 6 minutes long.
Yeah, it was 6 minutes long, and his summary of Dr. Crusher was, she's good.
No, Bears, it wasn't that. It was, she's a woman, and she's there.
I mean, that's not wrong.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, I mean, that's more accurate for Crusher.
I'm like, okay. I did a review of all the seasons of TNG, and it was 5 minutes. I'm like, there's 7 seasons.
Yeah, and he said that Encounter at Farpoint was a good starting off point for TNG.
And then he went, I'm going to skip over season 2. I'm like, good review.
Why would he skip over season? Season 2 is amazing and crazy.
Season 2 is like finally like has way more better episodes than season 1. Season 1 is the one that like you can just skip. Stay away from it.
You spent 2 minutes of a 5-minute review on season 1. I'm like, oh my god. Got seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 7 to go through yet.
Well, maybe he was doing the abridged. I don't know, but his understanding of Bab 5, I thought, is not as detailed. But there's lots to talk about. He got enough going. To do a proper review of Bab 5 takes a long time. There's so much to talk about. So,
if you actually want to do it, either do what Mauler does and make like a 4-hour-long video, or do it in different parts.
Right, parts are the best way.
If the passion is there to do something, you're gonna do it.
Right.
Doesn't matter how long it is.
He has 1,700 likes, but has 960 dislikes. I can't see why he turned off the comments.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even notice the likes or dislikes.
It's very polarizing.
Why did he turn off? That's probably why he turned off the comments. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jeez, I was like, why did he turn off the comments? Who knows? Maybe he doesn't care. Jeez. All right, sensitive guy. We'll leave him alone. Let's keep going.
Don't dox yourself.
Disney and Lucasfilm were at any point seriously considering remaking the entire sequel trilogy is laughable. This was a movie trilogy where each film cost about
No, you don't remake these. You just ignore they ever existed and make other movies that tell a different story after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. It's almost like
nothing to do with this, that acts as if all this shit never existed. You don't remake these. Remaking these would mean that we try to somehow make a story out of this that works. Nobody wants that. Nobody sane wants that. Nobody who cares about Star Wars wants that.
You know what? I think most people can say, okay, you want these main characters and you want them to work. It's like, let's do it. It's not hard. It's very straightforward. We know why JJ made it the way he did. We know why Rian Johnson made it the way he did. We just don't do that. And you'll be fine.
No offense, give me money and I will write you 3 better movies.
Oh yeah, no, I can give kids that. They do a better job too.
Dude, had they made Braun trilogy instead, people would have eaten it up.
Yeah, I think that would have worked. Yeah.
No, but no, you could do anything.
The child palatable version of Thrawn, like the super reduced, friendly cartoon villain version of Thrawn in Rebels, was amazing.
Yeah, but the thing is, Wisp, any story beats what a sequel trilogy does, because there is no story of a sequel trilogy.
That is true.
It's
just a random assortment of scenes.
I think the
way tell me what is the through line of the sequel trilogy?
Woman.
No, not woman. Woman.
Masturbation.
I don't know exactly what the through line is. That's kind of hard to narrow down with episode 8 being so weird.
What's the through line of the prequel trilogy?
Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader.
Okay. What's the through line of the original trilogy?
Luke Skywalker.
Anakin Skywalker can still be redeemed by the Son.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
And become like the chosen one as a prophecy.
Yeah. Like I said, you can easily do it with the sequel trilogy. Like I don't know. You're like woman.
Somehow Palpatine returns.
That's not until the last movie. Yeah. It's like the first 2 movies.
Episode 9 is not logical. You can't properly understand it. It's not possible.
You can't even say that it's Rey, because it's not that either.
Yeah.
In the first movie, she's mainly just crawling around in the background.
Yeah.
The second movie, she's sitting on Luke's island, also doing nothing.
No, there's too much. There's too much gotcha moments in episode 8 that things that are supposed to have value to a story end up being nope, and it happens at least 6 or 7 times, and I can't see a through line through any of that. It's just life is not what you expect, and it's like it always screws up, and nothing happens.
Sometimes life is what you expect, though. There are consequences to the actions that you take that are very easy to figure out.
Yeah, I'm not even sure whether these movies, especially TLJ, are even real movies. I know that sounds weird to say.
I would say they're
just scenes. It's just scenes after one another.
7, we knew what was going on. JJ wanted to not do the sequels, not do the prequels. So he said, all right, I'm going to do the originals. He copied it. Fine. We get it. It was dumb. People liked it. Whatever. Episode 8 was just, I'm going to just stop everything and do whatever the hell I want, and all the things you think are good or bad, and vice versa. You're like, okay. Then what? No idea.
I'm a genius.
Episode 9 is, I'm going to have to get through this shit within 2 hours. Let's frickin' go. And everything just goes, and you're like, I can't follow.
Well, yeah, but it's one of the things, where would you logically continue episode 8? As in, like, how would you continue? JJ had to go for insanity because that was the only route that was left. Like, what story comes after episode 8?
He could have done many things differently, but the way that he did it was so crazy, and the techniques he used were so like, here's this green screen, here's this screen, here's another green. It's like, dude, I can't follow what's happening, and it's every scene. It's so bizarre, but they did do some things right, which is amazing, because he had to connect it all together. It was all between Rey and Kylo and their problems and her desire to have a family, and he kept attacking her on that. I was like, oh my god, this makes sense. And everything else was a mishmash of other people and their plots, which didn't amount to anything, which was hilarious. Like,
no offense, but I honestly think if Rise of Skywalker had been the first movie, it would have been a bit better because it has a feeling of a first movie of a trilogy.
We don't know what we're doing. Just throw stuff at the screen and see what sticks.
Yeah. No, seriously. But the thing is, it's like it brings back Palpatine in a way that makes you think, "Oh, can he actually be defeated?"
All right. Okay.
Something happens. She's got. There's that MacGuffin plot, which usually happens in the first trilogy.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Right.
And then Rey dies, and
comes back. I mean, there's things you do differently, but what I mean is, it feels more like a start than it does an ending point. Do you know what I mean?
Oh god, it's such a weird experience. Like 8 and 9 are so different, and they're bad on different levels. It's kind of hard to gauge where they should go or what order or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a tough sell.
I mean, you technically have to ignore it just to stay sane.
I mean, the thing is, though, the way that 8 is done, you can perfectly ignore that movie because nothing fucking happens that is of any consequence at all in any of the other movies. Nothing that happens matters.
Which is almost the message of the film, because that's pretty much what occurs. All this big stuff apparently happens, but it amounts to nothing.
Oh my god, The Last Jedi is the Dragon Age 2 of the Star Wars world.
Anyway,
nothing matters.
Oh god.
Is it nihilism taken form?
No, not that. No, there's a bit of it, but not no.
It's just it's self-annihilating.
It's pointless. I wouldn't call it nihilistic.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like I've always said that.
Yeah, but it's a manifestation of it. It's not preaching nihilism. It's rather a manifestation of nihilism.
Yeah, I guess that's a better way to put it. It's hard. It's really hard to grasp.
Everyone dies.
Yeah.
The Empire wins. It's like cool.
Slow motion car chase turns into one girl running around with some guy who kills some dude, and then they blow up.
I like the fact the entire resistance gets reduced to like 18 people, and Leia's like, "We can rebuild." I'm like, "There's 18 of you on one ship. You're fucked, regardless." It's like, no, there's no rebuilding. You're done. It's finished. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the First Order's conquer the galaxy in one day, supposedly. So, oh well.
Yeah, building the rebels from the ashes of the Republic took over 20 years. And like tons of little guerrilla actions and tons of little agents that didn't even know who they were from each other. They just had to trust that it's hopefully not an Empire sting operation. And yeah, you don't get this here. This doesn't work. You're up against an empire with millions of members in a galaxy with millions of species.
How many Smud? How many different species are there?
20 million.
But not enough black people.
Look, I'm still pitching to you. You just give me the license and give me the money, and I'm gonna make you a Star Wars noir movie on Nar Shaddaa without Jedi and Sith stuff.
Or you could go half price in China. They just give some Chinese production house.
No, then I have to abide by Chinese rules and probably employ concentration camp people.
Then they'll make money in China. They could totally
concentration camp people are really cheap. That's why Disney used them.
Come on, Wisp. Think about it.
You gotta think about the budget somewhere, Wisp.
You just want me to repeat the errors of my ancestors.
Well, we're going into depression.
Well, no, because you're using the Chinese this time. That's different.
There you go. Sweatshop writers. Fantastic.
I'm gonna be brutally honest. I didn't actually make the connection. I was just going to say use cheap labor, but
Anyway, let's get back to the video.
$300 million to produce, plus marketing on top of that. The collective spend for this trilogy is well over $1 billion.
Irrelevant.
The idea these companies would fork out that kind of money again and publicly say, oops, mulligan, and restart that kind of monumental production from scratch just to appease some angry people on the internet.
Some angry people? These movies went into the abyss. The first one made the most money because people thought, oh, we're gonna get good Star Wars now. This movie was not just JJ wasn't just copying the first the original trilogy because he's an uncreative hack. He is an uncreative hack, but he did that because everybody hated the prequels. Let's play it safe and show people that we are gonna make a safe Star Wars movie that's not gonna do weird shit. So yeah. So and that worked for a while. That even worked for a while. People were bedazzled for a while. But they eventually saw through it, and then TLJ came out. That made a lot less money. People were not repeatedly going into that mess, and they saw through that. Okay, this is bullshit. This is not even Star Wars. And it's insulting. It's insulting your intellect. These characters are bullshit. The story is bullshit. Everything is bullshit. Snoke is bullshit.
It isn't even a movie anymore.
Yeah, and that's why the third movie... People weren't even interested in the third movie anymore. Yeah, okay, it broke even. Okay, yeah, it still made money. But it's so much less than the previous ones. Star Wars should be the thing where it goes up. Like from A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back, it goes up, not down.
All right, let's keep going.
Is lunacy. Despite what you may think, the Star Wars sequel trilogy was actually pretty successful. The Force Awakens is the fourth highest grossing movie of all time, and both its sequels made well over $1 billion.
But like now no one is excited about these movies. That's what matters. Like,
okay, right. Go on, Mark.
Go ahead.
No, what I'm going to say is this: the idea that a movie that makes money will never be redone. It's like that's stupid. The idea that Disney will not at some point try and redo this entire Star Wars thing because they've run out of ideas is ridiculous.
We are in the time of redoing movies all the time. How many Hulk reboots were there in like 5 years?
I mean,
one.
A lot of movies, that have been successful.
Well, movies, but movies in general. With just 2003 and then Incredible Hulk. That's
the Lion King. The Lion King made loads of money. There's no way Disney would ever redo it.
Yeah, but look here. He's making this bullshit argument where he's trying to mislead you about the numbers. He's lying about statistics. He's saying, "Oh, they made over this much money. They were financially successful." Yeah, but not if you make a graph out of it. Like,
yeah, but the thing is, it's not even that.
The previous one, blob.
The thing is,
graph. So the original one made, and that's just the opening. That's not how much it made overall. The total. Oh no, the total is on the left. Okay. So worldwide, 2 billion. Okay, and opening 250. So what did we get afterwards? Did I get too far?
Shit.
Get too far? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Last Jedi opening 220. That's a little bit less. Overall, worldwide, 1.3 billion. That's 700 million less. That's almost 50%. That's close to 50% less. The second movie. The third movie
is pretty much 50% less.
Yeah, I know. It's late. I can't calculate. But it's closing in like 700 million less than the first one, from 2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
This is a disaster.
Yeah,
it's an absolute disaster. This is a financial disaster. So yes, it makes money, okay, but it's a financial disaster because it should have at least made 700 million more. Should have at least made as much, if not more. So, and then the final one, opening, 177. Okay, it's million. 177. That's even less. This is laughable. These are laughable numbers. Worldwide, only 1 billion. So even less than The Last Jedi. You cannot call these movies successes Yes, they made you money. But this is just going down. It's killing interest. This is not what these movies should be doing. They should be keeping them or growing them. Star Wars should be the money printer for all eternity. This is the Shakespeare of our time. You can argue about the writing quality, of course, but this is like the big thing. It's the big epos of the West.
Mm-hmm.
And you have destroyed it.
You can't make you can't go from 2 billion to 1 billion and go, well, this has been successful. It's been like, well, no, it's obviously diminishing returns. You're like, less people are interested. When in reality, there should be more people interested. But my thing is, when anyone ever goes, oh, it made money, it'll never be redone. It's like, no, loads of movies made loads of money and they've been redone. So, Jurassic Park made loads of money and they've been trying to redo that for 30 odd years.
Oh god.
Yeah, and so the first one, Force Awakens, made this silly amount of money because people had hope. And then they saw, this is not as good as I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then they saw the second one. They didn't go back. So this is a lot of the money also comes from rewatches in the cinema. So you turned off the core fans, the super fans that watched the movie several times. Not getting money. These are not successes.
Of course not.
All right, let's continue.
All right, let's keep going. Yeah.
Sequels made well over $1 billion. Plus, the revenue in merchandising and other licensing deals makes this era of Star Wars probably the most profitable.
Oh yeah, all the people who bought the Rose Tico figures, yes?
You can't...
The merchandise from the
Ethan Van
sequel
Sciver
trilogy.
bought a bunch of those. So
I would love to see a comparison of the merchandising from 4, 5, and 6 to 1, 2, and 3, and 7, 8, and 9. And just look at all the numbers.
That shit
The point
sold.
I was trying to
shit
make
sold.
is that like the 4, 5, and 6, and even the prequels are gonna stay in like the minds of the fans, and it's still being talked about. The sequel trilogy, right after Episode 9, is completely forgotten. It's only kept in the minds of these weirdos, like the Raylos. Like, and nobody fucking cares. Like, cause like when you have to like name like one of your favorite scenes from Star Wars, a lot of people are not gonna name anything from the sequel trilogy. Instead, you're just gonna go back to like the original trilogy or even the prequels, for that matter. It's gonna be forgotten because there's just like no moment that like connects anything because all of them are just half-assed and like they just don't accomplish anything. They made a lot of money by fooling people into like watching these movies, but if you like look at like how much money Episode 7 made, it made double the amount that Episode 9 made because like the interest in these movies have gradually declined to the bottom.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of like when you like go and like see like how much money Han Solo movie made, like nobody cared. And they had the fucking balls to like blame it on like, oh, well, it like released in like the wrong season. That's why nobody cared. Nobody cared about the Star Wars movie.
Good Star Wars movie, and no matter when you release it, people will watch it.
Yeah, like even Rogue One made money, but like that was also like a movie that I don't like.
Yeah. It was like decent-ish.
The only thing people talk about with Rogue One is that fucking hallway scene.
Basically.
Yeah.
And that's it. You start
the only
asking...
thing worthwhile in that scene. In that movie.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's great, but what else is in the movie? And
then you have to have like, 2 hours filler before it.
And you're like, oh, there's that woman with the British accent. You're like, yeah, she's in it.
She rebels.
Yeah.
No, she didn't. Not in the movie. She didn't say the line in the movie.
Wasn't the
only
robot?
In the trailer.
Wasn't the robot cool?
Doesn't matter.
No. Robot was the best character out of them all. Yeah. Like he had the most emotions.
The robot was the only character. Period.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, no, but he wasn't very popular because is he getting his own solo series? I don't think so.
Big black robot, a Star Wars story.
Big black robot voiced by big white.
The thing here is the sequel merchandise had to. It all had to go to landfills. It didn't sell. Wasn't which company was it? Toys R Us that went bankrupt because they couldn't sell the Star Wars shit.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
How can you go bankrupt over selling Star Wars merchandise?
Yeah, but also, you know, when we talk
incomprehensible.
About, here's the thing as well. You know, when we talk about sequel trilogy merchandise, you know that Darth Vader and like Stormtroopers and stuff like that are still part of the merchandise, which they'll say is sequel trilogy stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, if people buy a Darth Vader doll or whatever, they'll say, yeah, it's sequel merchandise, when in reality, Darth Vader's original trilogy. And you're like, yeah. But because it's sold
it's
now...
the same story as, like, what American comic distributors are claiming that, like, well, comics are doing really well, even though, like, 90% or even more of their sales are manga. It's just fucking pathetic.
Yeah. And they had no cool ships in their merchandise either.
No, like the bombers are great. What are you talking about?
Fuck that crap. the thing is, they could have incorporated all the cool ships from the video games. They could have gotten in the TIE Interceptors, they could have gotten in TIE Defenders, and all this really cool stuff where the Empire finally starts investing into the TIE ships and doesn't just have them as the cheap flying coffins that they were intended to be as mass production. So you could see that the Empire now has the room to actually do some quality products, because they're now also using normal pilots. They don't want to lose them all, so they're now investing in stuff, because now they want to maintain the galaxy and not just control fight over it.
The thing is, though, all these Disney fans will just say, response to that is, yeah, but Whisp, all you want is that famous Star Wars ship of, the TARDIS with Captain Picard on it. And you're like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. The weirdos
I just want to make it sense. I just want this universe to make sense, and it did make enough sense back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to this Disney crap, it doesn't at all. And this is as many flaws as the Clone Wars show and the even more gutted Rebels had due to the Disney rules. On top of it, they try to incorporate, while you can disagree about what they cherry picked and what they made up for it, put into these things as well. Those shows at least try to make a consistent through line between the shows and try to incorporate some things that were from the expanded content.
Oh yeah,
be it books, be it video games. And the Thrawn episodes in Rebels, they didn't incorporate the TIE Defender, which is this like, imagine a TIE fighter that looks super ugly because it has 3 panels in so like a triangle. But they have extra panels on top of that, because this thing needs so much energy, because it doesn't just have lasers, it also has ion cannons, it also can store missiles or bombs or torpedoes or whatever else. It has its own hyperdrive, it has shields. No TIE fighter has shields, except the advanced, I believe. No, the Interceptor. Not the advanced.
Yeah.
No, the Interceptor is just a faster TIE fighter with the claw wings. And basically the thing that they ripped off and made look worse that they made for Kylo Ren. And this thing also has a tractor beam. Like, this is an all-around bullshit super TIE fighter that you don't want to encounter. And they had that in Rebels. Great. And thought, hey, I love that in the video game. Cool. This is how you do the member berries right, but it's also how you make your universe consistent with other things that you have in that universe, as well as a kid that watches that doesn't need to know all the background stuff where this comes from, but you have this consistent universe. Because maybe that kid, for some reason, becomes a really big Star Wars fan, and then for some reason stumbles upon these really, really old-ass games, plays them, and then sees, that thing was in there already in the 90s? Wow. That's how you get a little bit of awe in your fans. But if you just do random bullshit like this, where the the TIE fighters just can do random shit that makes no sense, and where Kylo's ship is just an ugly ripoff of another, then like no, fuck off. Nothing in these movies makes sense. Like you have these. First off, Star Destroyers are mainly carriers. They carry tons of TIE fighters inside. It's part of that because they're control ships. They're supposed to control several planets. And then in TLJ, you have this super mega big ship supremacy crap that has this dumbest shape that is too big to even be maintained internally. And when it's chasing that resistance ship, it's just flying behind it. It's just as slow. Shouldn't this thing have like a million little ships that can just fly off and just shoot that thing into little bits and pieces? Oh wait, yes it does, because we see the inside of it, and there's tons of TIE fighters and other shit. But what does Kylo Ren do? He flies out with 2 TIE fighters as an escort. Like, am I supposed to laugh? It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. See, it's not even that it doesn't make sense as Star Wars movies. It doesn't make sense as movies. You can strip the whole Star Wars paint job off and then just look at the movie as is. As the elements that are present, and it makes no sense.
I'm gonna have to drop off now. It's late for me, and I'm getting angry messages from the girlfriend.
Okay.
All right. It was nice having you, Hawk.
Yeah, good
Well, I
luck.
thought
Help, she's
I was
watching me.
watching, and it was a bit like it was just Mark and Smud talking to each other while Whisp was stuck in German hell and Bears was obviously eating or something. And I was like, well, I'll join until people turned up. And then I sort of stuck around.
And I did.
Hawk, it's time for your 3 a.m. dead flattening. Yes, dear.
No,
May you find shade and water.
I've got she's right. I've got work early in the morning. It's
Right.
Right. All right.
Take care, buddy.
See ya.
Hopefully this guy actually makes some good points apart from it made money.
Oh, big deal.
So,
Yeah, he's lying into our faces with what is on screen. So do you trust your lying eyes or what he is saying?
I trust
my lying eyes.
Mm-hmm. All right. See you later, guys. Bye.
Later.
Bye.
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 All right. Let's continue.
And about the merchandise, he's just flat out lying. He's just making that up.
Ever. The only reason Star Wars fans have things like The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and all the other Disney Plus shows is because these movies were a hit.
Also, we should be grateful that we are now being shat into our mouths.
Yes.
Maybe I don't want this crap. Maybe I would be fine if all I had were good movies. I don't need the Book of Bob Fett. Because that's not Boba Fett, that's for sure. This is Bob Fett. I don't need this. I don't need this stuff. I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask for the Kenobi show.
You didn't ask.
Especially, it is not the Kenobi show, it's the Reva show. And we already have a Kenobi fan film, and that is much better. I suggest we watch it after this crap video.
Let's keep going.
Proclaiming this entire trilogy, likely a decade of people's hard work, should be erased from the franchise is silly to begin with.
People worked on it, therefore it should never be undone. Okay.
That is the worst argument.
Yeah, always.
The writer,
Wasn't there
the prop work is good, the CGI, all these people that work, tons of people put tons of work into it. I've said that about many modern movies.
If Disney,
there's so much work put in, but the writing destroys it all.
If Disney can decanonize all of the EU, they can do whatever the hell they want. So
can we talk about how terrible this shot is?
I don't even know. What's
Rey
going
looks
on.
like she's I like how Rey
She has no
is
balance.
like fucking her pelvis first,
Yeah, but look at Kylo. He's got
fighting style is great.
He's got his back to her or whatever. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Back to her using a great sword, essentially lightsaber, like it's an arming sword. Okay.
Yeah, you can't, and you don't have armor that keeps the lightsaber off. And Rey she's falling backwards. Like her left leg has no grip. She's not standing on the ground. Her gravity, center of gravity is behind her, as if the lightsaber is also somehow 10 kilo heavy.
Yeah, no, all these fight scenes in Star Wars, even the originals, don't make sense because you have a virtually super lethal rapier that you're swinging around like a kendo staff.
Yeah, like every point on the lightsaber is an edge, but they didn't account for that.
It is a deadly plasma whatever, and anything that would go near it would melt and just be disintegrated. So you don't need a swing, you don't need wide arcs, you just got to wiggle it around into the guy's chest and it will hit it. That's it. You win.
Yeah,
but they can't do that.
Chad. I'd rather have had a Force Unleashed movie.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that would work. Action, adventure, yeah. Killing. Simple.
Pulling down Star Destroyers.
Easy, fun, goofy, over the top. That would be Star Wars, yeah. That would be a space opera.
I would love to have like a Knights of the Old Republic TV show.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
If they can get Chris Avalon to write and direct.
Hey Chris, here is $1.7 million. Oh my God, all my dreams have been fulfilled. He could do it. He could do anything with $1.7 million. Doesn't matter what. Doesn't take much for Chris.
Just don't have like any of those executive like drives shit.
Yeah, he'll live in a trailer that's like has no it's just no roof. There's nothing. It just has a door. He walks into nothing, and he'd be happy. He'd be like, I can finish this dream of mine. I've always had. It'd be awesome. Chris Avalon could do it all, but it won't happen.
But actually entertaining the idea that this was ever seriously on the cards is completely moronic. Because the truth is,
let's move on.
Franchises, especially something like Star Wars, do not depend on the kinds of people who talk about them at length on YouTube to succeed.
Like the kind of people that are influenced by those people who keep it alive.
Or the inclination to spend hours typing lengthy comments or making video reviews. And they also don't have the time or inclination to follow people who do. But not only is the idea of any franchise holder publicly erasing shows or movies from official canon stupid, it's also incredibly unhealthy for said franchises from a creative standpoint.
What?
Now, as I said, even I am not a fan of many of the things mentioned in this video. I'm not about to spend the next hour making the case that all the creative decisions made were actually good ones. What I am going to point...
If someone shits on the table, then it needs to stay, and you need to eat it.
He's just said that like the people worked on it, so like we should appreciate. But like now he's like saying that like I'm not gonna come and defend these things because he doesn't like it. Like, can he fucking decide already?
Yeah, same argument.
You don't get a participation trophy. I'm not gonna eat shit if you just cook shit and put it on the table. Yeah. It's still cooked shit.
Disney didn't like the EU, they got rid of it. It's that simple. They can do the same thing with whatever they like.
Out though is how previously controversial or widely disliked installments in long-running franchises actually went on to benefit that franchise in the long run from a creative standpoint. And once again, Star Wars is the prime example of this. There's a perception of the Star Wars prequel trilogy these days which is very forgiving. The atmosphere among Star Wars fans, from what I've seen at least, is kind of agreeing to disagree. Some fans think only the original trilogy is good, whereas others praise the prequels despite its shortcomings, and everyone gets along just fine. But
that's because we have something worse now. We thought it might be okay. We thought Lucas was the problem. That is not the case. Lucas just did not have anyone stand up to him and tell him, "Dude, you're going too far. Dude, this doesn't work. We need to rework this." These movies technically have the same problem. Just worse.
Yeah,
and they don't have a vision. Lucas had a vision at least.
Yeah, that's what it. Like,
it's worse because
to make a movie.
Yes,
he wants to make a movie to entertain people. These people are just like, we need product with this brand name on it. Go.
Yeah, and then you had so as I said, Lucas had a vision, and these Disney movies, they have Kathleen Kennedy wanting the womans. Yeah, but with no content, with no context, with no story. It's just have strong woman, and she can't have flaws.
Okay. I think like it was in like Lucas interview when like he was like mad at like Disney for throwing him out the door. Is that like Disney straight up like told him that like they want to make like a movies for the fans, and that is like so surface level. Because like yes, like I agree completely that like they Lucas used to like make movies while Disney is just like really just trying to like please the lowest common denominator, and it works. I have asked like some normies about what they thought of Kenobi, and they just said like, well, it was a fine thing.
Yeah, but they're not
they
fans.
Didn't really criticize it for anything.
I think they're not fans. They're just normies who eat anything and watch anything. Yes. I've met a couple people like that, and they just say that even with the Witcher series, for example, Hawk brought that up as well. I've met people with that who just said on one hand complain, oh, we're never getting good stories anymore, and then when I rant about the Witcher series, I get back from the same people, exact same person. I get back, oh, but it entertained me, so it's okay. And it's like this brain dead glaze going over the eyes, and I'm like, you just turn into a zombie.
All right.
Yeah, like
these people will watch anything.
Hopefully, the next topic won't be Star Wars. Let's keep going.
I really hope so.
But that is leagues better than how things were back when the prequels were first coming out. It's difficult to understate the scale of how much pissing and moaning went on about the prequels for almost all of the 2010s. Armored Best, who played Jar Jar Binks, was almost driven to suicide because of how The Phantom Menace and his character were received.
Irrelevant.
And people still hate Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, but that makes
it was by the media, not the fans.
Nothing to do with anything. This is pointless.
Media backlash. The fucking words in the first sentence of his fucking tweet is, I faced media backlash.
Mm-hmm. And it affects his career. And that makes no sense, by the way, because his performance was good. His character was shit, but that's not his fault. He didn't design the character.
And as a
he played the character as he was directed and instructed.
As a man of color, I'm sure he's gotten criticism or racial slurs thrown at him before. Probably not in that capacity. But this is when he's with his son, I think? Or is it before he has a son? And he's at this bridge and he's talking about, I almost killed myself. And when I read it, I thought he was at the bridge with his son contemplating suicide. And I was like, that is the weirdest thing to think about. From a bunch of random media critics not liking the Jar Jar character, I think I'm going to end myself. What kind of personality? Like, where did you go to school? Who raised you? That a bunch of people in media said mean things or whatever, and your life is over? I'm sorry. Are you a child? Are you like a little girl who can't take criticism? What was so bad? I want to know exactly what caused him to nearly go over the edge. I really do. Because we have no evidence of like Jake Lloyd and what happened with, what's his name? The guy who played Anakin.
Yeah, Jake Lloyd, that's his name.
Like all these guys, like what exactly happened? Because I know they had a hard time. They told us their life was hard and blah blah blah. It's like, great. Where's the evidence? Like just let me see it. And give me some context. That's all I want. It's like, oh, the media was so mean to me. I grew up and I was a kid. Like Jake Lloyd, yeah, that's pretty sad. He's a kid. But you're gonna get that as a kid, whether you're in a big film or not. You just happen to be the biggest target on the playground because everyone knows Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's also a reason. Kids will find a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I talked with my friends back in the day about the movies, we weren't hating them. We weren't hating the prequels. It was more like we were laughing and like it's more of a bit of cringe humor because we would have liked it being good, but it's kind of not. And
same with.
But it wasn't hate. It wasn't hate. That was for the droid jokes.
Yeah, same with
that was hate.
With Hayden Christensen, like you could tell those lines were horrible, and he's like, "Well, I got to say these lines," and you got to blame not necessarily the writers, but George for letting this go, because he has no idea how to write romance. There's no way this is a serious romance or a believable romance that happened naturally or organically. It was so forced. It was so ham-fisted. You blame George Lucas, you blame the writer, you blame the editor, you blame the actor, you blame everyone who was involved because no one said, hey, director, this sucks. What do I do instead? This can't be real. I don't feel it. What's my motivation? Go through all the checks and balances of what makes drama. It doesn't add up. No one believes that Anakin loves Padme and vice versa. It's so stupid. So of course you're going to get angry at with millions of people looking at your product going, what is this crap? I could go watch the Golden Girls and have more believable drama and romance. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, but I'd say Rian Johnson is worse because he couldn't write a single human being.
I don't even know. But that's a really
and not the military's structure on the ship. Like, nothing makes sense. Nothing he wrote makes sense.
There's so much that's you can tell there's intelligence in these moments, but it's in the wrong direction, and you're like, why did you do that? For a laugh? Like, why does this scene happen? He's not a stupid, like all these people who do these big projects and planning, and they're not dumb. They just have their own agenda that is just not connected with reality or whatever they're trying to achieve. Like if he would tell the audience or tell, like, after the fact, what was he trying to do? And say, well, where were you trying to do that? Let's go step by step and see if you were effective. Because he spent millions of bucks on set design and practical effects for a 5-second, 10-second cow scene, or that opulent casino scene to smash it up. And you're like, why would you? Are you symbolizing like the destruction of capitalism? Like, what is the point of this? To have a bunch of dog horses just run through the casino? Like, I don't get it. Because it's awesome. Like, what? After Rose is like, capitalism is so bad. I came from this planet once. It's horrible. I'm like, well, okay. War is bad. We get it. You told us that already. So anyway, there's a lot happening in TLJ which amounts to nothing. And it's all the messages and all the themes and all the plot lines. So, I just want these guys to like tell their story in more detail. Why they, wanted to consider suicide. I'm still. It's a bad thing. It's always a sad story. I just want to know more details, because I've met people who have had scenarios which are much worse than this, where suicide was like, I'm in so much pain because of my disease that's the only option, as opposed to a bunch of guys on TV said mean things to me or in the paper. It's like, what? Really?
Yeah. Honestly, most people didn't know who played Jar Jar Binks, and that it was a black man.
And it's nothing
most
to do
people
with, nothing
do not
to do
know
with
that.
race. Even if he got racial comments, no one knows that. He would be smart enough to say, how could you know I'm black? How could you possibly know that? And then literally have to go search my name, go through some sort of agency, find a headshot, and go, okay, okay, this is a black man.
So the question is how this got so personally to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it, as he himself says, it's media backlash. It's not from the fans.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's hopefully stop talking about Star Wars.
Not only did these stereotypical internet nerds collectively act like stroppy toddlers for years on end, but even other TV shows and movies.
No, that's you. That's you. You're projecting.
This is parody.
Because you're defending really stupid movies being really, really stupid.
Yeah.
And people complaining and criticizing things that are illogical and are just outright insulting to anyone's intellect.
So
as somehow we need to accept that because someone worked on it.
All the
fuck off.
All the jokes, all the parodies, all the amusement parks, like that's fun. That's just silly fun. Everyone knows watching Darth Vader and a bunch of chicks with boob plate white armor as stormtroopers dancing to whatever is fun. It's not to be taken seriously. That's fine. Good for bringing your family out to MGM or wherever Disneyland is.
Yeah, like look, if you build me a couch out of barbed wire, you probably put a lot of work into that, but I will detest that couch. I will never want to sit on it. I will, if I'm bold enough to touch it, will probably rather want to beat you up with it, with your creation.
Oh,
you
God.
put a lot of work in it, but I nobody will want that couch because it's a shit couch. It's made of barbed wire.
I saw a few days ago, I think Shiny posted, it was a drink at one of the Star Wars theme parks that was like $5,000.
Yes, it is $5,000.
What?
It was a caliber. I don't know what the hell a caliber crystal is. I don't know what they were talking
Kyber
about.
crystal? Yes. Kyber crystal is supposedly like the crystal that's in lightsabers.
Oh yeah, that one I know. But what a caliber? They called it a caliber crystal. I was like, what?
What?
I have no idea. Are they just like making shit up that rich people go to just theme parks? Like I don't know anymore.
Maybe
I don't know, like
25% different.
Appealing to this one.
I know there's alcohol in those places, but I don't know what the hell that's made of.
Because didn't like recently like the Star Wars hotel thing was like flopping really hard. Like nobody paid for that shit, and now they doubled down on it. Like who the hell is running this?
Yeah, that was 2020. Yeah, that was a long time ago, and they brought some of it back.
Yeah, like it's Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, that was the name.
Oh god, yeah.
Like even like that, like that's what I'm talking about. Like these sequel movies and the products, nobody cares about them to the point that like you can make a good business out of it. The original trilogy and the prequels, people are still gonna talk about. But like Disney managed to like make people not interested in this brand anymore.
Yeah, I remember.
They scared away the real fans.
I was a kid of the 80s. I had cousins who had like Star Wars pajamas and bed sheets and all kinds of toys. Like it was everywhere. It wasn't just them. It was like the kids in the neighborhood. And I look around my neighborhood that kids are playing with. I don't see anything related to Star Wars. Like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's not just so. These few nerds who are complaining, that's the 1 billion less profit that the 9th movie made compared to the 7th.
Yeah, like it just like go back. I really don't want to talk more about Star Wars, but like you look at like how they see race and like advertisement, like these races and other shit. Like I thought like Lando Calrissian was a really cool character, like and I'm not black, very obviously, but like how they see it is like, oh, if we don't have that race here, then people cannot resonate with that or relate to that. This is doomed.
Yeah, and that's why we make the black man a gay robosexual.
Yes.
Well, that was
he fucks everything, not just robots.
I could compare that comment, like pansexual or whatever he said,
pansexual,
to the same thing that Moses Ingram said in that interview, that there's no black people or whatever. It's like they're just trying to pander, they're just trying to get attention, and say, oh yeah, of course. Well,
they're trying to pander to the smallest extremist outlier group there is, at the cost of alienating the overwhelming majority of the population. Not a bunch of nerds. They're alienating the overwhelming majority of humanity.
All right. Hopefully no more Star Wars talk again.
Made fun of the prequels and outright vilified George Lucas. I'd bet good money if the prequel trilogy came out today, certain fans would again be demanding the entire trilogy be made non-canon, erased from the franchise, and new filmmakers should come in and start from scratch. And while that also stood no chance of ever happening, in some strange hypothetical alternate dimension where it did, here's why that would have been awful for the Star Wars franchise.
Oh, you mean when they got Rian Johnson out of nowhere? And just
You mean it would be so awful because now Star Wars is basically dead?
He's still talking. Let's just keep going. I don't care anymore.
Because the prequel trilogy wasn't just 3 movies. It was a brand new setting, dozens of new worlds, hundreds of new species, and a vast ensemble of new characters. Think of all the great novels, video games, and comics set during the prequel era.
Yeah, those had that before the prequel movies.
This is all secondary or tertiary entertainment, which you could argue has its own quality. That's fine, but that's it. All you're saying is other artists did other things, which is the exact thing you're arguing against, saying you can't have like not George Lucas or not JJ. You can't get someone else. Like, but it works. The books are good, or some of the books are good.
And what came out in the prequel movies already had appeared in some of these extra materials in games and in books.
When you see the 2D animation and the 3D, it's like, wow, this is awesome. This is well done. They took something which was not very good and made it better. They worked with what they were given, probably under a budget, and it worked well. as opposed to George Lucas not having anyone to stop him from going too far.
Yeah, and who we can hopefully forever forget from this picture are the two shithead sisters to the right, on the right side of Darth Maul. They both have shit for hair.
I hated those episodes so much. I skipped over them and I didn't make anything. That was amazing.
You didn't lose anything. It was just supposed to be a time sink for Ahsoka to have something to do while the timeline caught up to what? Oh God, movie names. I'm dead.
Don't worry.
There was like classic Disney. I really don't want to talk more about stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm getting tired of this.
But originally I saw like a deleted scene like before like they made like season 7 because like those two sisters used to be one character and they made it into this diverse shit.
Oh God.
Think of TV shows like the Clone Wars. All of it would be gone. All the great stories and characters which built on top of those 3 movies would never have happened. If you read superhero comics...
Yeah, but that's not comparable to the sequel trilogy.
Finally, we're out of Star Wars.
Oh boy, tell me about superhero comic books.
Oh boy, here we go.
Tell me about superhero comic books, please.
2
Look,
minutes.
alone, solely if we lose TLJ, nothing is lost. Even for those Disney movies, that alleged trilogy that is not... These movies aren't even really connected. Fuck that shit.
Okay.
And nothing builds on them anyway.
A bit of a fixation with canon, but superhero comics are a brilliant example of why stories and characters, no matter how badly they're received, should never ever be erased. So many
Are you retarded?
He is.
Are you retarded? I'm not even going to address the Captain Marvel beloved thing. We all know for a fact that she had 7 solo series that all failed within the matter of 5 years. But yeah, she's fucking beloved. Good on you. Fucking the reason why Crisis on Infinite Earths happened is because there is so much shit that was written between the time of the beginning of the Silver Age to the beginning of the Bronze Age that nobody could have a mainline, like, condensed, like, easy to follow timeline of events. So, like, because they had all this multiverse bullshit, like, so they brought together all the multiverse together, kept who they wanted, erased everything else, and started the fuck over again with the post-crisis continuity. Like, at a certain point, yes, you have to erase shit from canon. Because if you allow yourself to get too far out there with what you allow people to do, like with comic books, then sometimes an editor or somebody has to come along and say, okay, we need to fix this shit. We need to decanonize a lot of shit. Figure out a way to how to do it.
Right. And the tropes, one of the most famous tropes in comic books is no comic book character ever dies. There's always some loophole, an alternate universe.
Except Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben can't not die.
Every universe, Uncle Ben must die. So and they do that.
It's a universal constant.
Episode 9. What happens to Rey and Kylo? They die and come back, or Rey does rather. So it
was the worst Romeo and Juliet adaptation I've ever seen.
They could have just have her hurt and have a healing power, or I don't know, some sort of bantha tub, or I don't know. There's all kinds of ways to get around that. BAFTA. It was BAFTA, right? Yeah, BAFTA. BAFTA? I can't remember. Jeez. Anyway.
Beloved modern-day superheroes on the big screen or on the page started out as pretty terrible. Writers like Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, and Neil Gaiman were masters at taking previously silly or widely derided characters and rebooting them with universally acclaimed and beloved limited series.
You know how that happened? Because they decanonized a bunch of other bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, all this shit he's talking about happened in the fucking at least with Animal Man, happened in the post-crisis DC continuity.
I feel like I could make a video just on this and what he's talking about. He's getting a lot of stuff wrong.
Right.
Grant Morrison. He's yeah, people like him, but not everyone likes him, okay? He's a bit weird. Oh, he's not like Frank Miller, but he's famous-ish. At
any point, an editor somewhere had looked at what readers and critics were saying on the internet and decided, all right, erase them all from canon.
They looked at what happened on what people were saying on the internet before there was an internet.
I don't think he understands how time works.
The post-crisis, the Crisis on Infinite Earth happened in the 1980s, sir. Who back then, aside from the military, had any form of the internet?
We also got Superman Red and Superman Blue in the 90s.
The people on the public mail system?
Not even, no.
Sending letters to each other?
No, just military.
The intermail?
So DC is run by the military.
It's like, do we have a nuclear bomb threat yet? Nope. Okay, see ya. That was email. Or, sorry. What was it called? Server messages? I can't remember.
It was the Pony Express.
Yeah. Oh.
This is so stupid.
This is getting a little like, well, the comic book world didn't do it. It's like, yes, it did.
Is he contradicting himself?
I can't wait until they decanonize the Snyderverse.
Now we know why he turned off comments. Because everyone would be like, dude, you're wrong. You're wrong here. You're wrong there. This is proven wrong.
Wrong. You're wrong on a boat. You're wrong with a goat. You're wrong here. You're wrong there. Sir, you are wrong everywhere.
It could have cost us so much great material. But most of all, it would also cost the fans themselves something they love. Because using the term the fans as a catch-all...
People are asking for shit to be retconned, but we can't retcon it because people will lose the things they love that they want to be gotten rid of because they're asking for it to be retconned in the first place. Goddamn. Goddamn. Like, do you hear yourself talk at all, ever?
Did he write
Holy shit.
All we'd have to do is compare the
Whisp,
number.
He wrote the script in Wingdings.
Well, all we have to do is look at the numbers of the people who wrote or signed those petitions and say, what do you want? What do you want to happen? And then make another petition. Do you want to have a sequel to the sequel trilogy or whatever? And see how many people you get to sign up for that. And just compare. And then say, hey, Disney, here's my stats. You got 2 million who want this decanonized. You got, whatever million or not even million who don't or want a sequel or in a positive light. So you want a positive stats. You want to prove that if you were to do this, these many people would be interested. Not necessarily they'd buy it, but they'd be interested. And that's where you go. You show your marketing you show your stats to your managing team and say, here's a positive chart. This is what people want. This is what we're going to do. And then you compare it to another chart, which is also positive. You pick the biggest chart with the biggest numbers. You say, okay, we'll make that product. That's it. That's all you do. That's marketing or research for marketing. And you could do it negative. I don't like negative charts because they kind of they don't prove something that they want. They just prove something they don't want. That could be everything else, what they do want. It's just a way of proving to the team in charge that the products were successful in this way and failure in that way. So you have a mix of both, relatively speaking, to what you would like a service or a product, and you do it, and you say, okay, we're going to put our money into that, and you tell that to the creative team. They come up with plans, they come up with documents, and they structure an attack plan for whatever they're trying to do. So that's typically how it's done in the past. Maybe Star Wars is different. I don't know how 7, 8, and 9 came about. I really have no concept of that. And
Old Wiz in the chat says he's talking about the new fans. But here's the thing, Old Wiz. If Warhammer and Doctor Who and Star Trek and Star Wars and any number of other sci-fi franchises have told us anything, the new fans are not fans. Mm-hmm. They just consume.
Yeah,
normie consumers.
Those are the super fans at not the expos. They're the celebrations that happened 2 months ago in May, at Anaheim. Like those are the super fans who line up and they watch it like 20 times, or they say it's like 100 times, but it's really relatively speaking, it's like
those fans are just the normies. That's what they're banking on now.
Those are the normies. Okay.
At least some of them, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was
the people that just consume. That's the normies.
Okay, I was talking about the super fans who like they buy like 20 tickets and they keep going and going and going.
Yeah, this is look. Even fans who pirate a lot of their stuff buy more of the stuff that they pirate than the people this new social justice crap tries to appeal to. Did I break some brains?
Not mine. I get it exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, hopefully no more Star Wars.
Term for the
at least no more woke Star Wars.
No more Star Wars. No more
pretty much
comic
next to
books.
useless, because the fans are actually millions of people all over the world with millions of different opinions. Well, I guarantee in a few years YouTube will be...
No. The majority seems to agree that these movies were shit and should just go to trash. Explain to me why the 9th movie made $1 billion less in profits than the 7th.
Like, there are millions of fans all over the world, and coincidentally, all those millions of fans seem to come to the same conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Swimming in video essays titled things like Why the Star Wars Sequel Trilogy is Actually a Masterpiece, because the exact same thing happened with the prequel trilogy. A lot of people call Rey a Mary Sue character, and you may agree, but don't pretend like your hatred of the character is somehow more legitimate than someone else's love of the character.
It is.
It is more legitimate because I can substantiate it. Anybody who loves this character solely has emotional arguments.
If you look at the evidence, I'm talking all the things that are good and bad, and you put them on a scale, objectively, meaning I don't care what your criteria is, you just add up all the criteria. And you weigh them equally. There's a heck of a lot more bad objectively through observation, not through like I can just invent a positive criteria. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you objectively look at all the things in the film that she does that are good and bad. The majority is bad. It is perceived as good because she's strong and fast and smart, but it's bad because it doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes sense with her. She just is strong and fast and smart for whatever purpose this story needs it to be. That's not how characters work.
As I said, you can only like this character for emotional reasons. You can dislike this character for emotional as well as objective reasons.
I would say for headcanon reasons, because you have to invent another version of Rey which makes sense in your head. Because if you don't think about Rey, it's like, oh, she's awesome. Isn't that good? And you're like, no, that's retarded. That's not how humans with the Force operate. They don't become gods. Or reluctant, naive gods. How am I so powerful? How did I do that? It's retarded.
Because the writing sucks.
Mm-hmm.
By demanding Rey be erased from canon, you're demanding someone's favorite character be taken away from them.
Yes.
Good. Have no more stories.
I'm gonna do that.
Considering how much these characters sometimes mean to people, to me that's kind of cruel.
I don't care.
Imagine if
Cruel is keeping this shit and destroying the entire franchise for everyone. So the question is, are you one of these Oedipal idiots who wants nobody to be hurt? Because that's not possible. If you go the utilitarian route, which is also a bit insane, but at least then we have, billions of people will be happy if we remove this character, and the couple dozen complete idiots will be sad. The utilitarian argument says, we're going to make money if we remove her.
If I get good Star Wars back at the fucking cost of fucking Rowan J. British fuck calling me a meanie weenie doo-doo head, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
one day someone said Ahsoka Tano or Mace Windu just didn't count anymore. Remember when people flipped
We
their
like
shit
them.
because the Star Wars Extended Universe was deemed non-canon after Disney bought Lucasfilm? If you're someone who was angry about that and remembered how that felt, well, by demanding Disney or Paramount or whoever just erase the latest installments to their franchises, you're asking them to do the same thing which was done to your favorite.
The Extended Universe is better.
You are comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah, this is like...
Or you're comparing a souffle and dog poop.
Imagine if Disney decanonized episodes 1 to 6. So you'd be like, wait a second.
They would have literally nothing.
Yeah, they'd have to use the EU and work off that, which people would be like, what the heck? Like, a lot of people would be like, wait, that's not Star Wars, because they don't know it. The fans who know the EU would be like, well, that could work, but why'd you decanonize this thing over there?
Even the EU requires the original trilogy.
Oh, yeah, no, but this is the same thing as because there's bad and good in 1 to 6. Whereas the EU has all kinds of crazy stuff. And some of it's great, some of it's not so great. But you don't just kill it all.
There's also contradictory stuff because it's all over the place. It's understandable that you can't take everything from it.
Oh, yeah, but you could easily, with a few $billion, obviously not directly, get a lore expert, say what doesn't work, what is the easiest to kill, and you say, okay, the one with the Luke with the clones, like the Luke bullshit, like get rid of all that shit. The video games, pick and choose, TIE Fighter, these could work, those can't work, especially Force Unleashed, like that you can't really, that can't be lore specific.
Yeah, Force Unleashed was deliberately over the top force powers.
Yeah,
and what do we? It wasn't supposed to be canon. It was just to be fun. Yeah. Like, what if the Force was like super amazing strong bullshit, and that's what Force Unleashed deliberately. That was deliberately done with George Lucas's blessing even, but as non-canon.
Yeah,
so you can get non-canon blessings. However, what do we get now with the Disney trilogy? We get super overpowered Force crap. Then we could have done Force Unleashed after all.
Yeah, it's
basically like asking. It's like another example, Lord of the Rings. What would you rather have, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, or the Amazon series? I'm pretty sure most people would go with the games.
The Peter Jackson trilogy.
Always.
Well, obviously the trilogy speaks for itself, but I mean in terms of like secondary material, would you go with the 2 games or the series?
It's just that a
lot of people would go with the games.
His comparison is saying he's just throwing the baby out with the bathwater, whereas it's like we want to get rid of the crap, not the good stuff.
That's why I'm saying if you put on my table a souffle and dog poop, I'm gonna say take this shit away. And his argument is, but there might be someone who likes to eat dog shit. That person would be really sad if we don't have that on the menu.
Yeah, that isn't everyone, though.
It's very few people who like to eat dog poop.
Yeah, well, all right.
We don't need to keep that in the freezer.
Yes.
The idea of making anything non-canon is stupid, it's ignorant, it's entitled, it stifles creativity.
No, it's a black and white argument.
How does it stifle creativity? It enhances
the exact opposite of it. Yeah, it enhances creativity.
Like freedom with boundaries is what makes the most creativity. Right?
Yeah.
If anything can be anything, then everything is nothing. It doesn't matter, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
When you write a story, you create your own boundaries if there aren't there already, and if you have a full body of lore in books and comics and movies and games to work with, you can go, wow, I can take this, I can take a character, I can take this trait over there, I can take a plot over there, I can make my own character and make an amalgam. You can do so many things, but you just say, nope, it's all crap, you can't use it. You're like, oh. And then Ryan Johnson comes by and uses it anyway when he references books which were decanonized, which is like stupid. I don't even know why that was allowed.
I'm starting to think he's making the infantile argument that if I can't have the stuff from the Disney movies, then you shouldn't have anything. So if I can't play with it, then you shouldn't be playing with it either.
That's exactly what that's exactly what destroying this franchise, and these idiots don't see it.
I want all the toys, even the bad ones. It's like, well, That's a very minority part of the fan base. Let's get.
So
rid
you're
of
a hoarder.
Yeah, let's get rid of the shitty toys and only focus on the really good ones. How about that? That'd be a great idea. Can you imagine?
That's too vague, though.
Can you imagine?
Let's not waste resources.
Yeah, let's go back to.
We live in a world with limited resources.
Yeah, let's go back to the Chris Avallone who played KOTOR 1 and goes, "Oh my God, they did it!" Slams his joystick on the ground, saying, "I got to do this." Pushes for his pitch, finally gets it, does the sequel, makes an amazing story, makes an amazing game, with all kinds of bugs as always, and everyone loves it. It's like, this is brilliant, this is amazing, this is the best thing. I think is the best thing in Star Wars. KOTOR 2. People love the first one, obviously. The second one is just as better. It's just as good, if not better, I would say. The characters.
It did everything better in story-wise. I feel like KOTOR 1 was just like going for like the general like Star Wars feel to it.
Yeah.
Like if you want to do the hero's journey,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2 is just building up to it and like gives you like a whole new experience as well, which is just admirable.
It is a side character, almost prequel-ish. It has a lot of not prequel, but it has a lot of background storytelling going on with the first game, which I love.
Yeah, like the characters from the previous game still stay in character. Like it doesn't betray that.
Yeah. All right, here's the Caporal. More Star Wars, guys. So, who's the worst Star Wars character? Rey, Rose, Reva, L337, Little Leia, or Jar Jar? Okay, let's be honest. Jar Jar is classic compared to these characters.
Who's the worst of every one of those except the robot? The robot from Rogue One.
I forgot who Rose is.
Rose Tico.
The borderline girl.
Oh, that one. Okay. Reva is actually managed to like be worse than all of them.
Really?
I'm going to say that.
Worse than
She failed to die to lightsaber stabbing.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like she can die,
Twice.
and like she
Twice.
somehow she can teleport from planet to planet.
Oh, she's like Batman in.
She's like
Yes,
Khan from
yes.
she's Khan from Into
Oh God!
Darkness.
What? But we don't need to see the transition between the two because, like, we can just put together the image.
Yeah, our brains can go point A, point Z. Of course, you could go from there to.
Patrick Willems. Now you see the character on this planet without any equipment, and it's just desolate wasteland.
Okay, it's like I'm fine with on occasion putting certain plot details together because I can, but if there's literally no effort put into it whatsoever, then why should I bother? You didn't.
There was absolutely none there. Like a person who can barely even stand up after a stab wound to an organ, and
Twice.
manages to twice, yes,
Twice.
and then manages to build a ship or something. Oh God.
The first time she was a kid the first time. That's even worse.
Yeah, so my original point was that, yes, I don't believe you should be erasing things from canon within a through line, within an actual story from A to B to C. But this is like other writers, other franchise, or other worlds within the same franchise, which could have a different vision, could have screwed up the original vision, could have screwed up the timeline, could have done lots of bad things. As Bears pointed out, that's what happens when you have a lot of continuity issues in comic books with alternate versions, alternate writers telling different flavors of a popular comic. Things are not going to add up because you can't expect one writer to know everything this other writer did or everything the other writer did, and on and on and on. So you have to put your foot down in that regard. You have to clean it out, start from scratch, or focus on iconic elements of whatever the message of your story is, whatever the characters are, like Spock, Bones, McCoy. Like you have to focus on, or Spock, Bones, and Kirk. You have to focus on what is the core of your story. What are you getting at? It doesn't mean that every character has to be the same. Not every character has to go on a journey, but you have to know what that means. You can't just create stuff and expect, slice of life, stream of consciousness, going to work so well in episode 8 of Game of Thrones or something. You're like, what? No, it's not. Who thought that was a good idea? So,
Idiots.
oh god. Anyway, we're almost done.
It risks robbing people of something they love. Thank you for watching. If you like these videos, subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay up to date on my new upload.
Yeah, that was kind of sad. See, the principle is fine. It's when he applied it to Star Wars, which is like, dude, that's gigantic. You have to get rid of some crap.
Yeah, dude, look, taking drugs away from people who are addicted to drugs is a good thing. They love to take the drugs, but it's better for them not to have them. And when your kid eats dog poop or that's on the street, you also take that away because that's dog poop.
Oh my god, what is this diagram? Just random arrows. US to annex Canada.
You on stream memes?
The intro to Fallout 1.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one way of doing it. We will remove the Primaris Marines from the canon.
Yes. Thank you, Matthew.
Please.
That bad?
All I would have needed to do is just ask, hey, Warhammer players, we would like to make to scale Astartes, because the actual models that we've been using for decades, they're kind of just the same size as the Guardsmen. Would you be okay with that? Would you like that?
Or would you rather we made a new type of Marine that completely trivializes all of the Marines that you've been playing for the past 30 years?
Yeah, all they would have said is, hey, do you want... Can we make the models bigger? Would you be okay with that? Would you like that? And I would have said, yeah, cool. It would be to scale. It would be so awesome. And they would have eaten that. And they didn't need to invent this Primaris bullshit.
And if they wanted to do the Primaris, then in the canon, like, oh, hey, Belisarius Cawl is back, and he makes these new organs that we can implant into existing Marines.
Okay. Here's
upgrade them.
Here's Mark's comparing Cell, I think it is, and
yes. Perfect Cell and Palpatine.
And Palpatine, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone who wants to stay in the watch together, I added the Kenobi fan film.
Well, we're not.
Has anyone not seen it yet?
We're not going to play it live, so.
Yeah, that's all right.
Hold on, let me hop back in.
All right. Well, thank you guys. That was Sunday. Tomorrow is Weeb Day. Keep the suggestions related to anime and manga. Doesn't have to be a video. Could be an article. I'm happy with that as well. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't work out. But thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Hopefully you can enjoy decanonizing whatever you want in your own mind. And no one's going to be sad. Anyway.
Happy 4th of July!
Happy 4th of July.
America.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, happy 4th of July.
Fuck yeah.
USA.